We're gonna do a video, we're gonna do that right. So, I don't know how to do a intro for a start, so that's not great. Right, guys, act serious. Act serious. This is it. We're actually going to try. We're going to try and do an intro to a video. We have now got the trailer for The Last of Us Part 1, which is fantastic. And maybe not. I don't know. So my initial thoughts on the trailer, just for getting everything out there, is I saw it. One of the Discord mods, big old Reese, not Reese, he's over there, that guy. He went ahead and he put it into the Discord, and I got a chance to watch it. Initially watched it on the phone on my way home from work, after I got off the train, and yeah, like it looks really good graphically. There is some wee minor issues which I'm sort of going back on now, which I just talked about, but I'm not going to go fully into details. But basically, the scene that everybody seems to be memeing of Joel with the big puppy dog eyes looked a lot worse in the screen grab they specifically got. It looks really bad in isolation, but when you actually get into the trailer itself, it just seems to be more of an emotive thing. So I hope it is more just an emotive thing, because in every other shot of the trailer, Joel seems to look like Joel, and that was a concern I sort of had. Like, they've obviously changed Ellie to look more like her Part 2 counterpart. And I get why they're doing that. They had a lot of concerns about in the first game of like her looking really like Ellen Page, and that was sort of like a big thing at the time. So they've steered away from that entirely. They changed her facial structure even more, make her look like she did in Part 2 in the flashback scene. So I actually don't mind that. I don't mind that. So for the most part, with everything that we've seen, it looks to be really, really good. It looks to be a really good remake of the first game. And that's going to be really fun and interesting to see. But, I hear me out here, but there is a concern that they will actually like change scenes or change something in the story that just sort of changes it so it doesn't go in line with the original, but goes more in line with what we got in Part 2, which sort of painted Joel to be a lot more irredeemable than he was in the first game. Not irredeemable, made him darker, made him less redeemable is what I'll say. Less redeemable in the eyes of the player. And sort of made him out to be a villain in the situation, with Ellie and that. Which, your thoughts on it either way, the ending of the first game always, in my mind, led it to believe that he is and isn't the villain of that, because on the one hand, we learn afterwards that Ellie did, she does have a lot of survivor's guilt, and that is a thorough theme of her character through the whole first game, especially as made better by Left Behind. But at the same time, Joel knew she didn't have that decision, and obviously he probably would have made the same decision regardless, and he said as such in the Part 2. But in his mind, he was doing the right thing at the time. He was saving his little girl, his baby. That is what he was doing. He loves this creator to bits, and that's why he did what he did. He was coming from a place of love, and that was, good for that. So hopefully they don't change anything. I feel like they don't have to change aspects of Joel's character to in this remake to change anything. That doesn't need to be done. If anything, it might make us like him more. It might make him more sympathetic, because you get a lot more expressiveness, and we've seen a lot of that in the trailer. Like, every character looks more expressive. The level of detail, the fidelity, everything looks beautiful. Like, the clickers look amazing. The infected in general look so disturbingly disgusting, as they should. It is actually phenomenal. I love that. I love how they look. It's great. The environments have got a really big overhaul that does bring the world to look a lot more in line with Part 2, which is a really good thing, because in Part 2, everything looks very, very realistic, to an unnatural degree, and we're going to get more of that. Like, not to say The Last of Us Part 1, or the original Last of Us, wasn't realistic in its environments, but, like, there was a clear difference between, like, your pre-rendered cutscenes and your gameplay, and it just looked a lot more 2013. So now it does look 2022, which is great. So overall, like, I do feel like both sides are sort of justified in what they're thinking about in terms of how this remake is going to go. Because on the one side, which is the side I would probably rather be on, is that this game is going to be a faithful adaptation of the original, with the enhanced graphics, with better gameplay that's more in line with Part 2, and just will overall be a better experience than we got in 2013. You're still going to have every emotional point that you got in the original, but just brought up to 2282 standards, which is what I hope for. Something I did see from what I like in the trailer is how they sort of incorporated Left Behind, and I hope that Left Behind is nearly integrated into the game, into the main game, instead of being thrown as a DLC and like an extra thing to play separately. Because I feel like you can really make that work, you know, because it sort of it ruins the first sequence of playing as Ellie, actually. So I don't know if that works. It would be cool to see the intermittent flashback scenes with Riley, but at the same time, it ruins the reveal of us being able to play as Ellie, which isn't really a big thing now, so they could still make that work, but you're not going to get the same, like, new players coming in aren't going to get the same holy shit moment when you're with Ellie in the woods and you don't know what's happened with Joel. So I don't actually know. Other than that, a lot of the concerns the other side have is that, yes, they're going to keep very close to the original story, but they're going to change different things, like making Joel a worse person, making him less redeemable, changing something else. I don't know. But they're probably going to change the character model for Jerry at the end, Abby's dad, and I think that makes sense. I think that's fair enough to do that. I hope what Naughty Dog are doing, and I feel like this is the thing to make the most sense and keeps everybody happy, is just have the first game be the first game. That's going to be faithful as fuck. It's just graphical upgrades and gameplay upgrades. It's nothing to do with the story. There's no additional stuff. There's nothing that changes anything with the game. And I hope that's the case. And I just hope that they don't add some extra thing that's more just like a gut punch to people who really love Joel as a character, because he does get done dirty in Part 2. There's not a lot they could have probably done there to make a lot of people feel like he's not done dirty. He really is, but that's for a different thing. That's for a different video. So stick around and catch that. The corporate shill that I am. That's actually a very good point, Reese. Maybe an option when you load up a new game, like have you played The Last of Us before? Yes. Integrates Left Behind into the story. No. Keeps it separate. That would be actually really good. I would really love to see that, because it melds into the story well, but it's just that reveal that that sort of messes it up, you know? So like, yeah, so you go, the thing in the university happens, that's fair enough. You then go into, I think it was a flashback scene. So we then flash back, and then it goes to Ellie now looking after Joel, and that's when we start playing as Ellie. That can still work, actually. There's a way to make that work, and it just moves the moments, basically. So yeah, very good idea, Reese. I really like that, and I think they probably could make it work either way. But I think it would be just really cool for just seamlessness of the story. You can have that added in, and it doesn't really break the pacing, I don't think. There might be something, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But like, there's potential there. They're going to change gameplay sequences anyway. They could maybe shorten Left Behind's non-story heavy sequences to be a little bit more shorter or a little bit more streamlined for you to be able to like get through those quicker, and that way you're not really cutting the story up as much. But that's neither here nor there. Big concerns is that we are going to have this issue where they do add things in or change things that just make the story worse somehow. I don't really actually see how a lot of that is possible, honestly, because I feel like The Last of Us 2, for the things it does retcon, right? It retcons Jerry, but other than that, it doesn't actually retcon a lot of other things, so it's not going to change anything. And obviously, the core of The Last of Us Part 1 is solely its own thing, and The Last of Us Part 2 wouldn't be a thing without it, so I don't think there's a lot you could even do or change. So there's that. So I don't actually think that's going to be a bad thing. The final thing I do want to mention, though, is the $70 price point. Like that's what, about £56 for the good old Brits among us. That's a queer bit of money. Queer bit of fucking money for a remake. And like, you know what? They need to make their money. That's fair enough, right? This thing's gonna sell phenomenally well. The amount of new fans that got brought in with Part 2 and didn't play Part 1 because it was an older game is probably a big heavy number within the casual player base. And like, they're gonna make buckets. They're gonna make buckets, really and truly. I think everybody's seen how much it blew up the space today and yesterday from the reveal. That's all I've seen. So we are definitely going to see a queer lot of stuff. I don't know. I don't like that they're selling it for a full price release again. Yeah, like, so that's like, cause when you buy the PS3 version at full price, you've already spent £60. But like, that's as I say too. It's not always going to be for people that have not played or that have played the original game. A lot of people came on board with the second game, and I think that needs to be said too. And I don't know, maybe it's just I don't see as much of the value in that. I'm still gonna buy, like disclaimer, I'm still going to be buying it. I'm still gonna be fucking buying it because I'm gonna be streaming it. I'm gonna be loving it. It's gonna be great. But yeah, there is. I think it is just I think it's annoying for me, and it's gonna be annoying for players that have doled out the money before, for the full price, and now we're going again for another full price. But I do get that they put a lot of assets into it, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and all that there has went into the remake. So I don't know. I'm calming down to it. I am calming down to it. I would have said, right, an honest, well, £35 to £40, I probably wouldn't have been as upset with. It's the fact that it's a full price title. Like, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna spend a full price game's worth on a game I have played before. And yes, I'm gonna get enjoyment out of it and all that there. But like, if it wasn't for the second me making content, I probably would wait for it to be. Well, yeah, if you don't know, they could do that yet. We've only got the initial reveal. So if they do that, I'll retract this statement fully. But just right now, I don't know. I think it's just annoying for me, but I do see where Naughty Dog are coming from there. It's a good business move and all that there. People are going to eat it up. It's going to be great. So overall, closing thoughts, closing segments. I'm actually pretty happy with it. I've done nothing but slam it all day, for the most part. I've jumped on here. I've got a little bit of discussion about it. I've looked at the trailer again, and I'm actually really excited for it. It makes me really excited for the big epic The Last of Us playthroughs that we're gonna do whenever Part 1 The Last of Us Part 1 releases, because we're going to play through the new coming out The Last of Us 1 Part 1, and then we're going to go straight into The Last of Us Part 2. So overall, you know, I'm actually pretty happy about it. It's made me have to change my plans, but overall, I am happy about it. I couldn't even say I'm actually mad anymore. I've really just talked out my madness. That's what's happened here. This is what this is. This is the transition from a hater to an enjoyer. Right here. Live. For those that are watching live. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, because I did enjoy making it. Thanks to all of the chat guys that you see over here. They are great. They're watching us live. They are the true supporters. Yes, they are mods as well, because they are gaming gamers. But yeah, if you liked the video, please give it a like. Please give me a wee subscription if you want to see more videos like this. And go ahead and comment what your thoughts are on The Last of Us Part 1, the remake. And without further ado, see y'all guys later. Peace out.